What you do at your job simply decides your tasks for the day. But who you become decides everything about your future. Most people have this completely backwards. They give their best hours, their brightest energy, and their deepest focus to their work, yet they forget to give anything to themselves. They pour themselves into serving their company, but never work on their own mind, their own skills, or their own character. Let me tell you something that changed my life the moment I truly understood it. Success is not about working harder at your job. It is about working harder on yourself. When you grow as a person, everything around you grows too. I have watched thousands of people over many years, from all walks of life and all career paths. The ones who struggle are always chasing the next title, the next position, or the next paycheck, hoping it will finally bring them fulfillment. But the ones who truly win in life, they chase personal growth. They understand a secret that most miss. Their value in the market is directly connected to their value as a human being. Working harder on yourself than on your job is the difference between making a living and building a life of significance. Okay, with I'm building. This isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it. Most people spend more time planning a single weekend than they do planning the trajectory of their entire lives. They invest more money in their car, which depreciates the moment they drive it off the lot, than they do in their own mind, which can appreciate in value forever. They watch hours and hours of television, consuming content designed to make them forget their problems. But they cannot find 10 minutes to read a single book that could actually solve those problems. Then, they stand in confusion, wondering why life is not working out the way they once imagined it would. I was like this too once. I was working harder at my job, believing that loyalty and effort were the only things that mattered. I was wrong. Everything changed the moment I realized a fundamental truth. My income would never exceed my personal development. And that was the wake-up call I needed. That is when I stopped hoping for a raise and started investing in myself. And that is exactly what I want to talk to you about today. Success is not a trophy you chase. Success is a force you attract by becoming the person capable of holding it. And becoming that person happens through deliberate, consistent self-improvement. It happens through working harder on yourself than on anything else. Okay, with I'm building. This isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it. You might be thinking, that sounds good in theory, but my job demands everything from me right now. I don't have time for this. I understand that pressure completely. I have been there. But here is what I have learned from decades of experience. When you make yourself genuinely valuable, the world will always find a way to make you successful. When you solve your personal problems, your lack of discipline, your fear of public speaking, your procrastination, you automatically solve your financial problems. When you develop yourself, you are not just preparing for the future, you are actively building it. Let me share what happened in my own life to make this real for you. At 25, I had nothing of substance. I was confused about my direction and unhappy with my results. I worked hard, that was never the issue. I showed up on time, I did what was asked, and I stayed late when needed. But I was completely focused on my job and completely ignoring the person doing the job. Then I met my mentor. He asked me one simple question that shattered my reality. He said, "Jim, how much better do you think you will be doing 5 years from now?" I answered with confidence, "Much better." Then he asked the question that woke me up completely. Why would you be doing better? I had no good answer. I was simply hoping things would get better. I was using hope as a strategy. Okay, with I'm building. This isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it. My mentor taught me that hope is not a strategy. Wishing for things to change is not a plan. He looked me in the eyes and said, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. Those words hit me like a bolt of lightning. For my circumstances to improve, I had to improve. For my income to grow, I had to grow. Success was not going to come from working harder at my job. It would only come from working harder on myself. So, I started a new kind of work. I started reading books on leadership, psychology, and communication. I attended seminars, even when I couldn't afford them. I began spending time with different people who were asking questions I had never thought to ask. I changed my thinking, my vocabulary, and my attitude. I worked on my communication skills, my personal philosophy, and my time management. Within 6 years, I went from having nothing to becoming financially free. Not because I found a better job, and not because I worked more hours, but because I found a better version of myself. The transformation in my income followed the transformation in my character. This is what I need you to understand today. The path to success does not lie in your job description. It lies in you. When you grow, your income grows. It is an immutable law of the marketplace. Okay, with I'm building. This isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it. The marketplace is simply a system of exchange. It pays you for the value you bring, and value comes directly from who you are and what you can do. The more valuable you become, the more you earn. It is that simple. Most people think that if they had a better job, they would do better. That is completely backwards. If you were a better person, more skilled, more knowledgeable, more disciplined, you would attract a better job. If you had more to offer, better opportunities would find you. Think about it this way. Why does one person earn $50,000 a year while another earns $500,000? Is the second person working 10 times harder? Of course not. The difference is the value they bring, and that value comes from who they have become. You might say, but I know many hard-working people who are not successful. I agree completely. Hard work alone is not enough. The key is working hard on the right things. And the most important thing to work on is yourself. The marketplace does not pay you for the hours you put in. It pays you for the value you produce in those hours. So the question is never, how can I work more hours? The question is always, how can I bring more value in the hours I already work? The answer to that question is personal development. Okay, with I'm building. This isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it. So, what specific skills should you develop to increase your worth? First, communication. Your ability to articulate ideas clearly, to persuade others, and to connect with people on a deep level may be the single most valuable skill you can build. I have seen people with average intelligence but exceptional communication skills far outpace brilliant people who could not express their thoughts. If you can communicate powerfully, you can lead, you can sell, you can teach, and you can influence. Second, invest in your people skills. Understanding human nature, building strong relationships, and resolving conflicts makes you valuable in any organization at any time. Technical skills without people skills lead to limited success. A person with outstanding people skills can always hire technical expertise. The reverse is almost never true. Third, develop deep, specialized knowledge in your field. Whatever you do, become the best at it. Read every book, take every course, and study the masters. Do not stop at what everyone already knows. Go beyond. Develop unique insights that no one else has. Fourth, become a master problem solver. Every great advancement in history came from solving a problem. Businesses pay for solutions, not for activity. The better you are at solving problems, the more irreplaceable you become. Fifth, master your own productivity. Your ability to focus deeply, to manage your time effectively, and to eliminate distractions is a superpower in today's world. Okay, with I'm building. This isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it. These 5 skills: communication, people skills, specialized knowledge, problem solving, and productivity, are worth a fortune in the marketplace. But they do not develop by accident. You must work on them deliberately, every single day. The good news is that every one of these skills can be learned. You were not born knowing how to communicate powerfully or solve complex problems. These are abilities you acquire. And if you can acquire them, you can increase your value. But here's the key. You must develop them consistently, over time. Success does not come from occasional effort. It comes from small improvements, accumulated day after day, year after year. I call this the compound effect. Just as compound interest can turn a small investment into a great fortune over time, compound personal growth can turn an ordinary person into an extraordinary success. If you improve just 1% each day, after 1 year, you will be 37 times better. That is the power of daily, consistent growth. It is not about dramatic leaps. It is about steady progress in the right direction. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year and completely underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. They want instant results, but lasting success never works that way. It is built day by day, brick by brick, through constant self-improvement. Okay, with I'm building. This isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it. Think about the math. If you read just 10 pages of a good book every single day, that is over 3,600 pages per year, which is roughly 15 books. In 5 years, you would have read 75 books. How different would your life be with the knowledge from 75 carefully chosen books in your field? If you spent just 30 minutes daily improving a key skill, that is over 180 hours per year. How much better would you be with an extra 180 hours of focused practice? That is like taking a full-time, month-long training course every single year. Small daily improvements lead to stunning long-term results. But you must be patient. You must trust the process. You must understand that today's effort creates tomorrow's reward. Most people quit because they see no immediate results. They work on themselves for a week, see little change, and give up. What they do not realize is that results take time to appear. But when they finally come, they often arrive all at once, surprising everyone except those who understood the compound effect all along. So how do you build a personal development plan that actually works? First, honestly assess where you are right now. What skills do you already have? What areas need real improvement? Where is the gap between where you are and where you want to be? Second, set clear and specific goals for your growth. Okay, with I'm building, this isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it. Do not set vague goals. Do not say, I want to communicate better. Instead, say, I want to deliver a compelling 20-minute presentation with total confidence by the end of this year. Third, create a plan with specific activities. Schedule time to read specific books. Enroll in specific courses. Find a specific mentor who can guide you. Practice specific skills at specific times. The more detailed your plan, the more likely you are to follow through. Do not say, I will read more. Say, I will read 20 pages every morning at 6:30 a.m. Fourth, build accountability into your life. Tell someone you respect about your plan. Report your progress to them regularly. Better yet, find a partner who is also committed to growth, so you can push each other forward. Fifth, review and adjust your plan every single month. Assess what is working and what is not. Personal development is not a rigid path. It evolves as you evolve. This systematic approach to personal growth is what separates extraordinary people from ordinary ones. Anyone can work hard at a job. Very few people work hard on themselves in a structured and consistent way. Now let me talk about one of the most powerful tools for personal development: reading. I have always believed that the answers to your biggest questions are sitting in a book somewhere, waiting for you. The information you need, the ideas that can change your life, they are all on a shelf. Okay, with I'm building. This isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it. Reading is to the mind exactly what exercise is to the body. It strengthens you. It expands your perspective. It gives you new capabilities that you did not have before. The books you read today will quite literally shape the life you lead tomorrow. I am not talking about reading for entertainment, although that has its place. I am talking about reading for growth. Books that challenge your current thinking. Books that teach you new, applicable skills. Books that expand your mind and introduce you to ideas you have never considered. Some people say, I am not a reader. That is like saying, I am not someone who exercises. You may not be today, but you can become one. And the benefits are absolutely enormous. If you read just 30 minutes a day, you will be amazed at how quickly you move through books. Even 15 minutes daily adds up to something powerful over a year. The key is consistency. Start with books directly connected to your goals. If you want to advance in your career, read about leadership, about your industry, about the specific skills you need. If you want to improve your finances, read about investing, about wealth building, about the psychology of money. And do not just read passively. Take notes. Highlight key ideas. Review them regularly. Discuss what you learn with others. Teaching what you have learned is one of the best ways to truly own it. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today. And the best way to prepare is to work on the most important project you will ever undertake: yourself. Okay, with I'm building. This isn't about pretending. It's about redirecting your focus from limitation to possibility. Upgrade your vocabulary, and you'll upgrade your mindset. Once your mindset shifts, your whole life begins to shift with it.